Hi, my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings and the Bias Plus reports, and this is Ben and Barry on football.
Hello out there. This is Ben Dickerson, your co-host. It's getting closer and closer to the real deal, brother. We got OTAs out of the way, rookie camps out of the way. Real training camp will be starting soon. Still some negotiations with contracts going on and a whole bunch of other stuff. So what do we got to talk about today?
Well, we're going to go back to the Ben and Barry on football page where we put up, a number of articles and things of that nature. But as usual, before we get started with the real football, there is a basketball finals in play. What are you thinking?
I already said if the Celtics didn't win the last game, that it was going to go 7. I'm still taking Celtics in 7.
Celtics in 7.
Yes.
I talked to our friend Mark Russell today. I called him the great predictor because he said Celtics in 6. So he's pretty much already down in flames. But it was close. It's close. It's close. It is interesting to see the Celtics talk about, having breakdowns in discipline, and their ability to handle the deal with the refs and, getting out of focus and things of that nature. And hearing it from the coach who also got a tech, during that last game. So that's very interesting. I generally talk about the team with the stronger team concept usually will win when the talent, is equitable. You got talent on both sides in this situation, but I wasn't sure about who had the stronger team concept. I actually really like the Celtics coach. I think, he's pretty strong, you know what I mean? And I think they have a good team concept. It looks as if Wiggins has raised the team concept for the Warriors back to real Warrior level, especially considering that Clay is not really, splashing like he used to right now. So it is interesting. They say, he's quiet. He came in, he fit right in. He was always a top player, but he's adding a lot, to their game right now. What do you think about that?
Well, I heard somebody say, and I can't remember who it was, but I agree with them 100%. The Golden State Warriors organization has a way of allowing players to do what they do best and not try to make them into something that they're not. And that's why Wiggins is thriving now, where he was looking like a bust at one time when he was with Minnesota Timberwolves. I must commend Steve Kerr and the rest of the organization for that. In fact, he's playing so well that this whole quest for not only the Warriors to win, but for Curry to be the MVP of the finals could just go up in smoke because Wiggins right now is playing at an MVP level in this series. He's getting 20 and 10 every game. He's the most consistent, positive influence on this team, game after game after game. And he's been strong throughout the entire playoffs, but in these finals, he's really excelling. So,
and he's playing defense on sometimes their top guy,
Right.
Yeah. So,
that's part of the whole package.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
The rebounds, the defense, the scoring that people didn't think he had, his little mid-range, playing under the basket very well. Kid's young, he can move, he can score, and he'll hit a 3 on you too. But yeah, and sometimes you'll see players on certain teams and it doesn't look like they're playing well and you wonder why. And then you see them go to another team and you do see them playing well and they start doing things that you didn't even know they were capable of. There's a comfortability aspect, you know what I mean? And I think he's at that point right now in his career. And that's why he's playing so well and doing so many things well. And doesn't have to worry about being the focal point of the team or being the star. No pressure. It's no pressure.
Yeah. It's been interesting. Like I told people, I'm a Bulls fan, so I don't really have a team in this. I would probably lean toward rooting for the Warriors only because they have Philly roots, and I'm not really a homer generally. But I do like Curry, you know what I mean? And I'd like to see him get whatever he can get. I think he's just eminently likable. He's a great guy, great ambassador for the game as well. And this is what I think is funny, Benny. Watching TV today, Mari Stoudemire,
Yes.
he's saying tonight Curry could go, what did he call it? Well, he was talking about Curry going off for 50. Something like that.
Possible.
It's possible, yeah. He gets in the groove. But that's what he said he's looking for tonight. So I said that's interesting. See, Curry.
I don't.
You don't see that?
No, I don't see it. I see him having an average game for him. I see Klay Thompson going off, and they still lose.
Okay. All right. See Klay Thompson go off and they still lose. Well, it'd be interesting to see Klay go off. What do you mean by go off for Klay? What's Klay averaging? Do you have any idea right
Klay's
now?
barely, I don't know exactly. I could be wrong, but as far as I can tell, he's barely getting 20 a game, maybe on average, which isn't terrible. That's great.
Oh, you said barely getting 20. That's what you said, right?
Barely getting 20, right. But Wiggins is getting 20 every game, okay? And every time they talk about the Warriors, they say the two greatest shooters possibly of all time. When you say that, and then you say the guy's average is 20, it doesn't fit. You know what I mean? Now, if he gets 36, 38 tonight, I would consider that a go-off, considering what he's done so far this series. But I think the Celtics will still win, and they will win Game 7.
Going Celtics for the series still, eh?
Sticking with the Celtics, yes. I don't like to change.
Interesting. All right. All right, Benny, I'm doing some information, I'm doing some research, right? And looking at different stuff. And, on my Niners, we have two players who are fifth-year option players. You're talking about Nick Bosa, right? And Deebo Samuels. And so that means they both have a year sort of contract. They're under contract, you know what I mean?
Right.
It was funny. I started thinking to myself, I wonder if at some point these well, I'm going to say the NFL, when they're putting these contracts together, but they're going to put a poison pill in for the guys who get to their fifth-year option, and then all of a sudden now they want something more and different, So I'm looking. Poison pill being, and I don't know what that could be, but I mean, if you're going to if you have a contract, you're under contract, we have this option for you the fifth year. Now all of a sudden you don't want to show up to, mini camp, you don't want to practice, you're not going to do this and all of this kind of stuff because you want the extension beyond the fifth year, So a poison pill would be something that would avoid that. But then as I'm doing some research, I'm noticing that I found out that there's a whole nother part of this fifth-year option that I had not really understood. So I'm at overthecap.com.
Right.
We're looking here at what's called fifth-year option projections. And the first thing that jumped out to me was that the fifth-year option was actually part of the collective bargaining agreement for the NFLPA, the union. And, you tend to think about, contract negotiations as being, between the player and the team, but that third party contract from the union is also playing a part in what's being offered. And that kind of threw me a little bit. So then I come here over the cap and I'm looking and I'm seeing where in the union situation, they have actually, move this here. Okay. There's actually 4 payment levels or contract levels available. And there's criteria for these 4. So I'll just read it right here again. You have people who are listening on a podcast. And it says here, the 2020 collective bargaining agreement allows for teams to exercise a 5th-year option for players drafted in the first round as an addition to the standard 4-year rookie contract. Article 7, Section 7G provides for 4 different tiers of salary for the 5th-year option, calculated as follows, okay? So you got basic play time, 1 Pro Bowl, and greater than 1 Pro Bowl. So as you can see, if you look at the chart to the right, for Kyler Murray, who's with the Cardinals position at quarterback, they have the green, the greater than 1 Pro Bowl highlighted in green, and it's 29,703,000. Now, the 1 Pro Bowl was 27,186,000. The play time was 22,384,000, and the basic was 19,646,000. So between the basic at 19 and the greater than 1 Pro Bowl, that's $10 million differential right there, just looking across it for quarterbacks. Now, again, the different positions have different, levels that they're paid for the position itself. When you look over to the left, you see basic. So a player now this is real contract language. This will take you back to our days with the phone company and all the CWA contracts and all the stuff. Players who do not meet any of the requirements below will be eligible for a 5th-year base salary calculated from the average of the 3rd to the 25th highest salaries at their position over the past 5 seasons. The average.
Okay, so basic means just that.
Yeah, you don't qualify for any of the playtime, the Pro Bowl, or the Pro. So if you don't qualify for any of those 3, you're left at basic pretty much.
So to qualify for the Pro Bowl, you have to make a Pro Bowl.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, let me mention, I thought it was interesting that it was the Pro Bowl and not all pro.
No. All pro is way harder to make.
Absolutely. So I mean, it was helpful toward the player to say Pro Bowl, but this is, you'll see in the Pro Bowl, there's some other stuff. Let's look at playtime real quick, which is the 2nd tier. In playtime, it says these players will be eligible for a 5th-year base salary calculated from the average of the 3rd to the 20th. So now in playtime, your amount goes up because you're not going down to the 25th highest. You're only going down to the 20th. 3rd to the 20th highest salary at their position over the past 5 seasons. All right, so you got 5 years worth of salaries here. I mean, you need a computer anyways to calculate this stuff. Provided that their snap counts over the first 3 seasons meets one of the following 3 criteria. So they had to either have 75% or greater in 2 of their first 3 seasons, an average of 75 or greater over all 3 seasons, or at least 50% or greater over all 3 seasons.
Which makes perfect sense. That measures your value to the team.
Well, this is what the union, this is how they negotiated. So right. Now when you think about it, the agent sitting down with the team, trying to negotiate a salary, or a contract for a rookie, this now comes into play. in
Right.
terms of what they're thinking, about when they do this. Now, again, it's the 5th-year option. And because it's a 5th-year option, they're not contracting to say what they're going to get in the 5th year. So they're going to get everything they mostly up front. But now this 5th-year option comes. And this is where a lot of the players now.
Right. But they help themselves by making a Pro Bowl or two or whatever. And by securing.
Let's talk about the Pro Bowl. It says here
75 to 50% of the. Go ahead.
One Pro Bowl. Players who are named to exactly one Pro Bowl on the original ballot, not as an alternative, will be eligible for a 5th-year base salary equal to the transition tender at their position. Now you go into a whole nother chart, and I'm going to go to that chart in a minute. But let's go to the multiple Pro Bowls, which is next. And it says here, players who are named to 2 or 3 Pro Bowls on the original ballot, not as an alternative, will be eligible for a 5th-year base salary equal to the franchise tender at their position.
So am I to assume that when they mention franchise tender, they're talking about the same rules that apply if they want to put a franchise tag on a veteran player?
Kinda, sorta. It's all charted out. And again, remember I said I wanted to see, what these values are, especially the franchise tag for the different positions. So here is that information nicely put together. So in the first one, if you make one Pro Bowl and you're the quarterback, that transition tag is valued at for 2022, it's valued at $27,186,000. In 2023, the transition tag will be $28,337,000. So like you think about a Lamar Jackson, right? He's made probably more than one Pro Bowl. So for his 5th-year option, they would offer him $29,700. And he'd look at the top quarterbacks in the league and say, they're making 40, buddy. I'm not coming to practice.
Well, they're not making 40 for 1 year.
Well, in Aaron Rodgers' case, he's making 50 for like.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're talking about quarterbacks. Yeah, you're right. You probably, yes. I'm sorry. Absolutely.
So there you have a differential in what, in what the top guys are making. Now, I don't know. I'm looking at this chart, and I don't know if the signing of an Aaron Rodgers would change these numbers, and maybe this chart needs to be updated. Not quite sure. Overthecap.com is pretty much on top of things. But 29.7 does not look like the average of the top 5 quarterback salaries.
Not at the moment, no.
Not at the moment. So, and again, remember, however, this could be calculated a little bit different, but I'm not quite sure. In any event, I thought it was interesting to see, and also to have an opportunity to, again, kind of look at the different valuations. Let's look at 2022 through the positions on the franchise tag side. So we might as well go, that's the highest paid. So your quarterback is $29,703,000. The next highest, right underneath, is the linebacker, $18,702,000. Wide receivers are coming in at $18,419,000. Your D end is coming in at $17,800. Your D tackle is coming in at $17,300. Your cornerback at $17,200. Your O-line at $16,600. Your safeties are making $12,900. What did they just sign Minkah Fitzpatrick for?
I don't know how much, but he did just sign. He's the
Yeah,
highest paid safety now.
yeah. So again, that just happened. I know these charts couldn't have been updated with that
No.
already. Safeties are making more than tight ends. I'm surprised, but again, thanks to people like Kittle and Kelsey, that's going to change, I believe, or at least maybe it'll increase. I don't know if it's going to make more than safeties, but tight ends are coming in at 10.9 million. There's your running back at 9.5, almost 6, 9,570,000, and your ST, what's that?
Special teamer. Kickers.
Special teamer. All
Kickers
the
and
not a
everybody.
position, that's the whole,
Kickers and kick returners.
that's everybody.
Yes.
Everybody on special team. I'm like, what position is that? Anyway, 5.2 million there for the franchise tag. And the funny thing is, therein lies the challenge for Adebo Samuels, who is a cross between a wide receiver, and as you can see, they're at 18.4 million, and a running back who is at 9.5 million. That wear and tear really brings the value of the running back down.
I don't look at him as a cross between two positions. He's a wide receiver that's been schemed up to run out of the backfield. He's not a cross. He's not a running back.
I think that again, you might not look at him that way, but the question is the league, and especially the Niners, are they looking at him that way?
Well, of course, the Niners are going to look at him that way.
And again, as I said to you, even on Madden, in the updated version, he's the backup running back. He's literally listed on the depth chart behind Mitchell.
That's a shame. That's a shame. They look at a guy's skill set and they say, you know what? You can help us win games if we put these certain plays into our game plan. And you come out there and you bust your ass and you do this stuff and you're successful at it and you help the team, and then they try to use it against you in salary negotiations. That's horrible. That's horrible.
And it makes it even more so if you're trying to be a free agent, the rest of the league is looking at you that way. But it's the same thing, I think, again, the challenge with Lamar Jackson. You're a quarterback, but you're running the ball as much as your running backs. That's going to devalue you, because you're kind of that combo, in reality. If you're running like a normal out of the pocket guy, and every once in a while it breaks down and you take advantage and you take off, that's one thing. But if they're scheming you to run, that's a whole nother, that puts you in a whole nother ballpark right there. So I think, but I like seeing that chart because it kind of brought out the distinction between the positions and how they're valued in the league. So you don't get a chance to see that all the time and start, definition like that. All right. Anything else on that?
No, just that that can't be up to date, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, at least it's relative position to position, and that's the main.
A lot of guys have just signed some really big deals at different positions that are going to completely change those numbers.
And again, this is part of union contract language. So that update might not happen until the contract changes.
That's a possibility.
Yeah, yes, it gets to be a little crazy. All right, let's talk a couple fun things. First off, because he was the last place in his fantasy league.
Okay.
So you guys have anything like that?
Nah, not really. The only thing we have is if you come in last place in a league where we have a live draft, then you have to work the draft board. Every time people make picks, you got to find the sticker with the guy's name on it and stick it up on the draft board.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the last place finisher's job. You become the draft board technician, which is a job that nobody likes. It takes away from your concentration on who you're picking.
All right, all right. Well, if you were the NFL, wouldn't you make the Super Bowl champion win that so you'd have parity in the league? You can take away from the top guys' concentration so the bottom guys have a chance to win.
We do it just like the NFL. If you win, you pick last.
Yeah, but you said that this is a job, though.
No, this is an actual job
Yeah.
on draft night.
Right.
All the players' names come on stickers on sheets of paper. So when it's somebody's pick, they say, I picked so-and-so. You have to find the paper, pull the sticker off, and stick it up on the draft board. And then the person who picks next says who they want. And then you have to find the sticker, and then people harass you all night. You're moving too slow. What did he say? Who did he take? I can't find the sticker. Come on, man. Get your act together. It's a pain in the ass job. And that's what you get if you come in last.
Coming in last. I serves you right. The first thing I want to do is say happy birthday to Joe Montana. St. Joe, as we would call him. When I say we, I'm talking about Niner Nation, baby. Yes, this is St. Joe. And he's actually given a lesson on how to throw a football. Have you had a chance to see this technique and everything he's talking about?
Yeah, I took a look at it. I also have seen some tutorials that he has up on YouTube from back in his playing days.
Really?
Yes.
You watch a lot more YouTube than I do relative to, watching old football stuff. You know what I mean? And so I've noticed that because usually you'll say, I've seen such and such on YouTube, or I've watched this on YouTube. I watch a lot of stuff on YouTube. I guess I'm so busy editing our stuff and putting it up on YouTube, I don't really have time to watch anybody else stuff. We are on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. Ben and Barry on football. Just search us now. We're in the search engine. You can find us. All right. So, Benny, I saw this, and I know as a fantasy guy, you're interested in all the positions that produce points for you.
Correct.
And I'm looking at this Chiefs offense by position, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, how do they transition what they do now that Tyreek is gone? And, you've got a number of new receivers, Juju Smith, Marquez Valdez-Scantling is the fast guy. Well, I don't know. Is he faster than McCole Hardman?
No, there's no way he's faster than Hardman.
Say that again?
There's no way he's faster than Hardman.
Out of that wide receiver group, who do you think is the fastest?
Hardman.
Hardman is the fastest?
No doubt about it.
Okay.
Except for possibly Sky Moore, a rookie coming in could possibly be just as fast. I believe he had a really great 40 time at the combine, but it remains to be seen how football fast he is running routes and what have you.
Right, exactly. Now, Ben, Josh Gordon, what Josh Gordon is this?
Bro, this is Josh Gordon 7.9. Jesus. Josh Gordon's been in the league, hasn't played. I don't even know if he stopped smoking weed yet. Like, he's on the team, so he must be passing his tests. But he hasn't put anything up on the field, so it's hard to say what you're going to get from him. Right now, looking at their wide receiver group, you have Juju Smith-Schuster, who's basically proven himself to be a possession receiver, Valdez-Scantling, who's possibly a deep threat, and McCole Hardman, who is also a deep threat. I don't know how this is going to work out for them. I think they need to keep their fingers crossed on Sky Moore and hope he turns out to be as good as advertised. Of course, you still got Travis Kelce, so that helps.
Now I'm looking at the running back group here, and
I'll tell you right
what's
now,
Ronald Jones
Ronald Jones
and the
uh,
Bucks.
was supposed to be the heir apparent with the Buccaneers. They seem to have tired of waiting for him to put together the type of season where they could see his actual true potential begin to show. Injuries and what have you kind of stunted his growth a little bit. Edwards Hilaire, just when he was beginning to come on last season, fell prey to some injuries also. But while he was hurt, Derek Gore actually showed some pretty good potential. So they might not be too bad off at the running back position. That's a nice little group there, little three-headed monster they may be able to use. I'm more worried about the wide receiver group. These guys are going to have to prove themselves if they're going to carry this offense the way they were carried by Tyreek.
Well, this is going to be interesting opportunity for Bieniemy to show some ability to pivot and come up with his own level of creativity. Or
That's
the challenge
true.
with him is that everybody's going to say it's Andy Reid's offense. So I think that's part of the challenge. Whose offense is it? Who's calling the plays? Who knows?
Well, it was a lot easier when you had Tyreek and Kelsey playing together because Kelsey was your sure thing, run a great route, catch the ball every time, move the sticks guy. And Tyreek was your, I'm going to explode on you at any moment, whether I catch a 5-yard pass or I catch a bomb. And when you have two guys that are that good at what they do, it's a lot easier to coach your offense. Now you have three guys that are going to have to actually fit into certain roles to make the entire passing game go.
Okay. Yeah. And that's the challenge with them. And like you said, it's a wait and see, what they do with that talent. But it's going to be interesting now, Ben. They had the Madden official reveal trailer. And then, I didn't really pay much attention to it because, they're only going to tell you so much. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can't do anything. It's just a quick trailer.
So you don't know if there's going to be big changes in the game itself?
The funny thing is generally there's not big changes in the game itself. It's all of the stuff that they build around the game, all of the special, you can play with the guy from 1935 or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
All that kind of stuff. And then you do have the franchise action where you can, play the contracts and all of that type of the game. I'm on the field. I'm pretty much on the field. And remember, I was telling you that I finally was able to get somebody online to play, right?
Right.
And I had gone, I think the last time we talked, I played 2 games, lost both of those games, right? And it was 2 things that I realized, when I went in, I start the game and I look up, and in one case it was my offense, but it wasn't the defense. So all of a sudden I'm playing with a defense that I don't know, right? And I'm just,
Oh, right. The defenses that you had set up already were gone.
Right. You're right. The generic level of defenses weren't available, only the team defense. Right?
Okay.
So, but you can take a team defense and you can make adjustments. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And customize it, which is really,
right.
So I have a customized offense and I had a customized defense. And I'm going online and the controls are different. So I'm not knowing where to check to see if the defense or the offense I'm playing with is what I think I'm supposed to be playing with. But anyway, this is what's hilarious about it. I told you, I said, I'm going to work on this defense. I'm going to put together a defense. And I had not, I've been working on offense so much and just using a generic defense, a couple of things that I liked, and I was doing pretty good with it. But I said, okay, I got to pick a team defense and I have to make customize it. So I did that finally. I practiced with it. I ran some exhibition games. I'm playing against the computer, doing all that kind of stuff. I go online for I think it was game 3, and I look up, I don't have my offense or my defense, right? I had to find like 1 or 2 plays that were also in my, and basically run with this stuff the whole game.
So what's making it go away when you go online?
I didn't understand why all of a sudden, like the customized offense was there earlier when I was online, but for some reason it went back. It defaulted to the Niners offense and defense, which wasn't because I don't use the Niners defense, and I customized the offense.
Right.
So it wasn't, it was different, especially the defense. Finally, last night, I fire up a game. I look, I find out where my information is, verified. I have all my custom stuff in place. Boom, let's play, right? Fire up a game. Interestingly, the guy's playing with the Patriots.
Okay.
I mean, I played guys, they're playing with the Chiefs, you know what I mean? That type of stuff. This guy's playing with the Patriots, so I'm really kind of intrigued. I was intrigued enough, I looked up, it was approximately less than a minute left in the first half. I'm down 13-0. Right? I'm running out of time here, I see it. I'm down 13-0. He kicks off to me, right? He missed the extra point, that's why it's 13. He kicks off to me. I have certain plays, like I said, that I know, and I set something up, and I was able to isolate Debo in the slot on his safety. And he played it pretty well, actually, considering that I had to go 75 yards. It was a kickoff, held in the end zone, went out to 25, 75 yards. But I think he underestimated Debo's speed, and he definitely underestimated Trey Lance's arm.
Mm-hmm.
Drop that thing, Benny. Boom, he looked up. It was 13-7 closing out the first half. And I'm like, holy mackerel. Now I get the ball back, right? Second half, he's good. He's pretty good. And I noticed that, but what he was doing, he's rolling to one side and throwing back to a tight end who was going cross field on the other side. So once I figured that out, I was able, because I knew my defense is down, to put some defenses together. We get down to the end of the game. He's driving again, less than a couple minutes left in the game. He's driving, he's in the red zone. He throws a pass. I pick it and take it like down to the 40.
Okay.
And score. End the game 14-13, walk away with my first victory. I'm like, this is crazy. This is crazy. It was a good game, though. I really enjoyed that. You know what I mean? So now I'm playing competition, not just playing against the computer. And, it really gets the, what's the endorphins? Adrenaline.
Right.
It gets the adrenaline moving. So I'm loving it. I'm loving it. All right. I thought this was hilarious. This is one of those memes. Cleveland Brown investigation. Prior to signing Deshaun Watson, Browns, you do that shit? Watson, no. Browns, cool. Here's $230 million.
Basically, that's what happened.
Isn't that basically what happened?
It is basically what happened. They don't think he did it.
Oh my goodness. He said he didn't do it. So, okay, let's go. Here's your contract.
That's it. That's what happened.
Now they're finding out, though, and I read this recently, that the team was providing him with non-disclosure forms or some kind of forms where they can't like go back and either sue you or something like that. So now the team is actually implicated in what he did. And remember, I kept saying to you, we said the team has everything that he wanted at the facility.
Right.
Didn't really need to go anywhere.
Right.
If you needed to get massaged and spied up, you know what I mean? You got a ultra high athletic facility at your full disposal. What can I tell you?
They said they counted over time. He has used 60 plus completely different masseuses, if that's the proper word. Masseuse is one. Masseusors, whatever the plural for masseuse is. Over 60 different females. Who does that?
Deshaun Watson does that.
Does that even sound right to you?
And the funny, well, 20 plus is about a third of those right now are in on that, in on the civil suit. And I always
then his attorney said something real goofy the other day too.
I heard that, but what did he say? Do you know?
I don't remember exactly, so I'll paraphrase the way I understand it. If the guy asks you to come over and give him a massage, and then when he's done, he asks you for a happy ending and you say no, he didn't break any laws.
Well, break any law. Again, there's two sets of laws. Criminally, that's what the criminal justice system agreed with. He didn't break any laws, you know.
He didn't say, if you don't, I'm not going to pay you. He didn't say, you have to. He didn't say, I thought you knew that's what I meant. He didn't do any of that. All he did was say, hey, how about it? And they said no. And he's like, okay, cool.
Well,
the lawyer's trying to say that's cool. But to even make up that scenario makes it sound like that's what he was doing.
Well, that's what we was doing.
No, you don't know that. We don't know.
Well, according to the ladies, that's what he was doing.
Okay.
And more.
But they're calling it harassment.
Well, that's what happened.
And more, so the and more makes what he's saying ridiculous.
Well, if you remember back even at the work situation, I mean, if you went to one of your coworkers and asked for a happy ending of some type, you'd be in all types of trouble, you know?
Right.
Do that, you know, that would be sexual harassment, you know?
Sure would.
So, you know, if he's supposedly in a professional relationship with these masseuses, then, you know, the same rules might apply. Especially again, civil. It's civil. It's a whole nother set of laws, you know, when you're talking civil than criminal. So that's where it's going to be interesting. The main thing is that the NFL has not come up with and said, we've investigated, we found this. So they're really
supposedly their investigation is still going on.
Really, I mean, how much foot dragging is the NFL doing? You know, gee, Chris,
it's not foot dragging. Maybe there's that much. Maybe this thing is really a conundrum for them. I'm telling you, man, this is going to end badly. This is not going to end well.
Well,
I don't see it ending well. I really don't.
With that being said, we are pretty much at the end of our show. So
it's going to be ugly, bro.
It's good. But those are not your last words, though. Your last words would be?
Oh, my last words are definitely go Noles.